Welcome to the Burgundy Zone. I am Kyle, joined by Michael Hall.
Hey, what's going on?
And it is Friday, June 7th, one day after the anniversary of D-Day, which goes into our whole synopsis of today, because it seems like D-Day is going on at Redskins Park. So the first thing that we have to get onto, Mike, is this Trent Williams fiasco. So I know everyone's already probably heard about it already, but let's just go over what has happened so far. So it got released earlier this week, well, it became public, that Trent Williams was very unhappy and he was demanding a trade. There was something going on and he wasn't going to show up. He wanted more money. And then all of a sudden something new came out. And that Trent, had nothing to do with football. Trent had a problem with the doctors. And it was a misdiagnosis, possibly with a cancerous lump that he had on his head. Yeah. And all of a sudden now Trent is saying, release me or trade me.
Pretty much Mike, he's saying, I don't ever want to play for this franchise ever again.
So, Mike, the question has to be, do you believe Trent Williams? Do you believe Jason La Canfora, who is reporting all of this, who is saying that Trent wants out completely? Do you believe this, or do you believe a guy like Adrian Peterson, who says during practice, I talk to Trent all the time. I have no idea what everyone's talking about. I haven't heard Trent talk about this. Where do you think the truth is?
Me personally, I believe the truth is kind of split down the middle, 50-50. I do think something happened where he wanted more money and didn't want to show up to OTAs and possibly not even all of training camp. Because let's be serious, he's like, if not the best, he's top 2, top 3 left tackle in the league. So he deserves that top.
Absolutely, I could definitely see a scenario like Michael Strahan in their Super Bowl run year with the Giants, where he just didn't want to come to OTAs.
Exactly.
He didn't want to do training camp, and Coughlin hated that, but I could definitely see that going on with Trent Williams.
And also, it's a known thing that the Redskins medical staff is probably like, if not the worst, but one of the worst staffs in all of NFL football.
I don't think it's inconceivable to think that the doctors completely botched what happened with Trent Williams.
Without a doubt.
I could definitely see the doctors sitting there saying, Trent, you're fine. Yeah, maybe every time you put your helmet on, the lump on your head hurts the hell out of you. But you know what? You're fine. We'll give you some painkillers to go away. And then he goes and gets a second opinion from somebody outside the organization, and they tell him, dude, this is possibly cancerous. We need to cut this off your head.
Exactly.
That could definitely push a guy to say, screw you. This is my life that you're dealing with. This isn't just me as a football player. This is life, and you're screwing around.
Exactly. Hey, like I said, if it was me in that situation, I'd be pissed off too. I wouldn't go as far as to say I wouldn't play for the franchise anymore, but there has to be some merit to the whole Trent Williams situation because he's been here going on 9-10 years now. You've never heard one rumbling, one thing outside of Redskins Park where Trent's been unhappy or disgruntled. So at the end of the day, he has 2 years left on his contract. So it's either sit out this year and miss out on $13 million or just show up to camp or show up on the week 1 in Philadelphia and do your job and get it done.
Yeah, I think that Trent's motivation is more directed towards missing OTAs and the mandatory minicamp than it is for him to be fined games and not playing games. Yeah, he might not like it here in Washington, but I know from listening to John Keim's podcast, who they've had a bunch of Redskins on there, the common sense is that this is all going to get hashed out before training camp. That it almost, to me, in a conspiracy theorist kind of mindset, it almost to me seems like this is a scheduled event. That this is just business as usual. They've known this about Trent. In my conspiracy, in my line, in Kyle's Conspiracy Corner, I think that they have a mutual understanding that Trent does not want to go to OTAs. He does not want to do minicamp. Well, Trent, we have to come up with a lie. We have to come up with something to tell the fan base because they're going to keep asking, where the hell is Trent Williams? Is he healthy? Is he okay? Is he going to be here ready for the start of the season? And so they have to give the fan base an excuse as to why he's not there. And I think that this fits right into play because it almost seems that way with how John Keim and all the guys close to the team are, and even Jay Gruden. When Jay Gruden was asked about this, he's not panicking. He's not freaking out. He's just saying, he's not here. He wasn't surprised by it by any means. He wasn't blindsided. He knew this was coming, and he doesn't seem worried.
I think it was J.P. Finley asked him if this was the first time he's heard about this, and he said, this is the first time I heard about it to this extent. So this has been ongoing thing for however many weeks and months now. It's just, I guess the front office was just like, we're not going to pay you. We don't want to talk. We'll deal with this like next year. So Trent was just like, oh, well, I'll go to the media and get it out in the public. Now, I do think that it has like a little bit more to do with money, just for the simple fact that, I mean, the Redskins still have $7.5 million in cap space.
Yep, about $8 million in cap right now.
If you look at like people that are going to get cut after the 53-man roster and everything like that, 90-man roster, there's not going to be any worthwhile players that they're going to go out and sign. So why not just give Trent the money he's asking for up front and be like, calm down, here's your money, you're the captain of our team, you're the leader of our team, here you go. So I do think it's a little bit more outside of the money and contract situation, but at the end of the day, like you said, he'll be there week one, bulldozing Brandon Graham on that left tackle spot.
Yeah, and look, this Trent thing, we obviously know the Redskins missed out on Damon Harrison. They put in a waiver for him at offensive tackle, but the Arizona Cardinals had a higher waiver priority, so they took him away from the Redskins.
I actually think that's like good for us, because if they would have actually came here and like signed him and put a waiver in for him, that could easily make the Redskins be like, oh, well, you want to play hardball? Go ahead and play hardball. We got someone else who will play for you right here.
Right, but that being said, I think it's more than that, because all reports coming out of OTAs is that Eric Flowers is getting his ass kicked. I've heard that Montez Sweat looked like a Pro Bowler against him. I heard that Ryan Anderson was bulldozing him and commanding him whenever he wanted on him.
Ryan Anderson.
If Ryan Anderson's doing that to you, we're going to have problems.
Suck.
Trent Williams has to be the left tackle this season for the Washington Redskins, and I don't see any other way that's going to happen. I don't think he's going to be released. There's no way he's going to get traded. He is worth more than a second-round pick, which is what only teams would give up for Trent at this point, given his injury history.
The draft's already been passed, so what's the point of giving up a draft pick for next year? Like, what is next year going to do for us? We need you this year.
Right, and that's the thing is, if the fan base is pissed off at Trent, and fans are looking at Trent saying, you're asking for too much money, who do you have to play left tackle? This isn't Madden. You can't just slide Brandon Sheriff over to left tackle. He's going to be the same Pro Bowl.
Look at the left tackles that are getting paid in front of him. He's by far hands and legs and legs.
Nate Solder is for one.
He's an open gate when it comes to left tackle. He's just swing on right into him.
Right now, he's getting paid, I think, $11 million for the Redskins, and he wants a little bit more because the highest paid, I think, is $14.5, if I'm not mistaken.
If they can get him up to about $12.5, $13, I think he'll be satisfied and he'll come right back.
And I think that can work out for both sides with cap restrictions. I think that they can balance out the money, give him more guaranteed money now, move that more to the forefront here with that $7.5 cap space this year. Move that down, constrict it, and that way in a couple years, once Alex Smith's contract, the Redskins are underneath of Alex Smith's contract, they're going to have a bunch of cap space, and they're going to have a bunch of young guys to pay, and Daron Payne, Jonathan Allen, and they've already linked up Matt Ioannidis, but there's a possibility that Reuben Foster might be there to get signed as well. All right, so we both think that Trent Williams will be here opening day. He will be the starting left tackle of the Redskins.
1,000%.
It just seems like I'm glad, and also other news for the Redskins. They're not going to be on Hard Knocks. It has been announced that the Detroit Lions are going to be on Hard Knocks, which means that nobody's going to watch it.
Yeah. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I would have not minded the Redskins being on Hard Knocks, because I think we need to get all the publicity out there as much as we can. Try to turn the fan base around towards liking the Redskins again. So, but at the end of the day, it'd just be a big distraction, and I'm actually kind of happy that they're not coming to Ashburn or Richmond.
Yeah, and honestly, I was more excited to see the Raiders.
Yeah.
Seeing Mike Mayock interact with John Gruden, Gruden interacting with Antonio Brown, Derek Carr.
Incognito.
Right, how is Derek Carr and Antonio Brown getting along? Is that defense getting any better? I would have loved to see Oakland, but I can understand why if they would be the Hard Knocks next year.
It's going to be a shit show in Vegas.
Next year, their Vegas stadium is opening. It would make so much sense for them to be on Hard Knocks. To be an easy transition, and they need the publicity around that new stadium, especially going in Vegas, because it is such a gamble. But the thing is, I think it's almost a guarantee at this point. It's going to ball out in Vegas. It is a money and a gold mine over there. Other news that came out, which was a surprising one. An NFC East quarterback got an extension from their team, but it's not who you think it is. It's not Dak Prescott. It was Carson Wentz. So let's have a discussion real quick. Is this the Eagles being smart and looking at it saying, once Dak gets his deal, and when Carson comes up, it's going to be really expensive when Carson gets paid. Should we get out in front of it now and give him a contract now, which will be a steal in 2 years, and let the Cowboys benefit or have to their demise, have to pay based on what we're paying Carson? Or is it kind of a panic move on the Eagles' part to give Carson a deal already to try to give him some confidence going into the season?
I'd probably say about 70-30, the latter 30%, where they're trying to give him a little bit of confidence. Say, hey, you're our guy going forward. I know you didn't get the Super Bowl, but you pretty much got us there. You were 11-2?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 11-2 when he got injured 2 years ago. And they shipped off Nick Foles to Jacksonville. So, I think it's a little bit of, hey, you're our guy. We have faith in you. We're going to put the pieces around you, put the pieces in front of you. We're going to lock you up. You'll be here. But I also think it was, like you said, them getting out in front of the Cowboys being like, look, they're going to give Dak between $25 to $30 million. Let's give Carson, what did he have, like $27 million or some shit?
He's at $32 million per year.
Jesus Christ.
Yes. So the deal is a 4-year extension through 2024, $128 million overall, $107 million guaranteed. He didn't get the great contract that Kirk got, which was fully guaranteed, but he still got $107 million guaranteed going to Carson Wentz. So, that being said, I think the argument does need to be made. Who is better, Dak Prescott or Carson Wentz?
That's not even a question. As much as I hate to say it, because I hate both these teams, it's without a doubt Carson Wentz.
Absolutely.
He's a way better passer. He's not as mobile as Dak, but obviously he's mobile. He can move around in the pocket. I feel like he's bigger and stronger in the pocket than Dak. He has way better arm strength than Dak. He's way more accurate than Dak. I mean, what else is there?
Yeah. And I think you're right there with you. Cowboys fans are for some reason so warped in their brain that they think Dak Prescott is the second coming of Christ. And it doesn't make any damn sense.
I know
he's not that good.
I know Cowboys fans have put Troy Aikman in the top 5 as like top 5 overall quarterbacks of all time.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's so stupid. Somebody tried telling me that Jason Witten was the top 5 tight end of all time. I don't know. I wanted to cry. All right. But in all seriousness, I want to possibly discuss something going on. And that is the ongoing QB competition that we have here at Redskins Park. Because it is the number one story going to the season. I think Trent's on the backside because either way, the Redskins are going to have to figure out the quarterback position.
Yep.
That is the most important thing right now that has to be done. And given what's going on, I want to talk about one thing first. And I hate to cut that off because, look, we're going to talk about that in a second. I can guarantee you. But Jay Gruden said something very intriguing that I want to discuss with you. And he said the most intriguing position the Redskins have right now in his eyes is the wide receiver class that they have going into the 2019 season. I want to get your thoughts about what he meant by that.
I guess maybe he meant like they have the most to prove going forward because everyone's already counted out Josh Doxson as a bust. But if you really think about it, at the end of the day, Josh Doxson, when he had Kirk Cousins here, Kirk Cousins was the type of quarterback where he's only going to throw the ball to you if you're like heads and toes and shoulders like open. He's not going to try to fit it in there. For some reason, he didn't really try to throw any jump balls at Josh
Which is funny because Kirk is not a risk taker. We've heard that before where you would have to be open for Kirk to throw you the football. But that being said, Kirk also loved to throw picks in terrible situations.
Exactly. And then you had Alex Smith come in last year who everyone knows, which is
Check down Charlie,
even though the year before that he led the league in downfield passing. But he also had Tyreek Hill running like a 4-2.
Travis Kelce, Kareem Hunt.
Exactly. So I think I think this year coming up, I think that Case Keenum is going to take a little bit more chances and a little more deep shots, which could bode well for Josh Doxson going forward. I know they didn't pick up the 5th-year option on him, but it's a smart move. Obviously, he hasn't produced. But if he puts up, it's crazy because going into this year, for some reason, I just had this gut feeling that Josh Doxson
was going to do well.
Was going to blow up this year. I'm talking about like 60 plus 70 catches for like 700, 800 yards and like 8 to 10 touchdowns.
Dude, I hope so.
But also the Young Bucks coming in, pretty much gunning for a spot. I think it's going to put something in his mind to be like, man, I need to like get on my shit because these young boys about to come in here and take my spot. And if I'm not careful, I'm going to get picked up next year, but I might be out of the league in 2 years from now.
The Redskins didn't pick up his fifth-year option,
I mean,
which tells you what, that they're not worried about retaining you.
Exactly. Like there'll be another team out there next year if the Redskins don't retain you next year.
Oh, I'm sure it has the Patriots written all over it.
Speaking of Patriots, you see that Mo Harris?
Yes, of course, my boy, who I've gone after with John Keim multiple times. I've said it. Why is Maurice Harris not on the field more? And he said, well, you know, he doesn't run routes well. He doesn't have separation, blah, blah, blah. That same week, he goes in and has a one-handed touchdown catch, which got the Redskins a win. Now he's blowing up in New England.
You put a viable quarterback around a viable receiver, he's going to produce.
I still root for Mo Harris because he was a grinder. He worked his ass off, and he did more than what Josh Doctson was supposed to be.
It'll be literally, I guarantee, Mo Harris when they come to Washington Week 5. Mo Harris is going to go for like five catches, $150, 2 touchdowns.
I say 220 yards. I think so, 100%. But the reason why I thought that Jay Gruden saying that the wide receiver group was the most intriguing position group of the whole team, I thought spoke volumes because there was 2 things I've heard about at OTAs. And that is Terry McLaurin and Cam Sims.
Yep.
I've heard they have been tearing
Cam Sims has
up.
Been balling.
And so I think this is Jay Gruden being excited because I know, for example, in his had a press conference, and obviously the number one thing being talked about with him was Trent Williams not being at OTAs and what was going on with his situation. One thing that Jay Gruden said is, we have so many good things happening with this team, I don't want to delve into the negative.
Yep.
And I think that he's saying, look, our defense is really legit, and this wide receiver class is unique, it is talented.
They're going to surprise you this year.
And so he doesn't want to have to worry about all this negativity at the left tackle position because they have some good things brewing. And I think that means that we are going to see some big things this year. And put that on top of the offensive coordinator, Kevin O'Connell, coming out and saying, on 1st and 2nd down, the Redskins have to do a better job of getting the ball down the field, which is a number one thing that we've talked about for the past couple of years. The Redskins love running the ball on 1st and 2nd down, only for 2 or 3 yards at a time, having to be in 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, consistently throughout the game. I think this is going to be a big year for the wide receivers, and I would not be surprised to see Josh Doctson get over 750 yards and possibly 10 touchdowns.
Yeah. I mean, he had 6 last year, and that was just pretty much red zone
right.
touchdowns. So it's definitely possible. The possibility is definitely there. It's just they got to have a little bit of faith in him. I mean, like I said, Alex Smith didn't really throw the ball downfield for the 8.5 games he played. And Kirk Cousins would only throw you the ball if you were a step ahead of the cornerback or safety. So if Josh can, not even really stay healthy because he hasn't been injured since his rookie year. If he can just stay consistent, just be consistent and work on your separation and work on separation off the line in the press, I think it'll be a good year for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the number one thing for him is getting a repetition, getting more reps with Dwayne or Case.
Yeah.
Get on their same page because the one thing that is setting Josh back is that he's had multiple quarterbacks.
Yeah.
He had Kirk Cousins to start out his career. He had Alex Smith last year. He got acclimated with him. Now he has to switch it up again with Case Keenum or Dwayne Haskins. So I think gelling those guys together is the number one need for Josh Doctson. Screw the route running because at this point, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
This is do or die year for you, Josh. You got to get your stuff together, and I think he can get it done. There's a different feeling with this Redskins team going in. And it seems almost like not caring, but it almost seems as kind of a comfortable, kind of lax.
Like no pressure.
No pressure. Everything is fine. Like either way, I think Jay Gruden knows. Look, I'm out of here at the end of the year if it's a bad year. If it is a good year, I'm back here, and that's exactly what I want. So either way, it's out of my control. I mean, we're gonna let the ship ride.
He's probably looking at it like you said. If we have a good year, I'll be here for one more year because I have one more year left on my contract. If we have a bad year, I'm out of here anyway, and I'm still getting paid.
Yeah.
And he could potentially, if we have a good year this year and then another down year after that, he could still be gone. So, I mean, he's looking at it like he's playing with house money at this point.
Now, I think the one thing that we have to talk about here is who is going to be throwing to those wide receivers. And that is the QB competition that we alluded to before. What is going to happen? Because OTAs, Dwayne Haskins has finally started taking the little missteps.
Yep.
He's starting to, show some weakness, show some mistakes, calling the wrong plays out of the huddle. But this is what Jay wanted. Jay continued to throw everything at Dwayne more and more every time he saw him until he made a mistake, and he was trying to see how he would rebound. And from what I've heard, he is doing exceptionally well. The only problem is he has to go against Jimmy Moreland. The sixth-round pick out of JMU, Jimmy Moreland, the cornerback, has been all over the field picking off everyone.
What did he have, like 5 picks in OTAs?
5 picks. He is balled out. He had 18 picks his whole entire career at JMU. I think this guy could find himself by week 6. I think he could find himself in the starting slot because he is continued to ball out. But that being said, that is a good thing for Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah.
It's showing that he's willing to throw the ball down the field. And look, this is the time to do it. It's OTAs.
Yeah.
You got nothing to lose. Just go out there and learn.
To make mistakes.
Right, exactly. And now you have to learn from him. And I love that Case Keenum is the guy he's in the quarterback room with because it's a guy that has gone through many systems, going from Houston. Where did he go after Houston? Well, was it the Vikings after Houston?
Nah, it was he was in LA for a little bit too.
Oh, you're right. It was Houston, LA, Vikings, Broncos, and now he's with the Redskins. He's seen multiple systems. He understands how to get acclimated to a system in one offseason. I think he is really going to help out Dwayne Haskins. And if Dwayne continues the path that he's on, oozing with his confidence, thinking to himself that he can get it done regardless, I think he's going to start week 1. And I'm not saying that, I think everyone is kind of scaring themselves with that thought because everyone's sitting here saying, there's no way Dwayne Haskins can be a baller like an RG3 type quarterback his rookie year. Don't expect that. Don't look for that. Don't even wish for that. All you have to hope for is that Dwayne Haskins can replicate what Alex Smith did last year in the first 9 games. Get the ball down the field. Do not have any turnovers, especially game-breaking turnovers. Mm-hmm. And your team is going to win. You have a good defense. You have a solid running game with Darius Geisbach and Adrian Peterson coming off a 1,000-yard season. Take care of the football, and this team will win. And I think Dwayne Haskins can do that. I think you can minimize what he's doing and give him a little bit more and more every week until the point that he does make too many mistakes, and then you jot it back down. Right. I think that's the way to go.
See, I kind of agree with you. If it was me as the head coach, Jay Gruden, I would probably throw Dwayne out there week 1 just to get him assimilated to the game speed, all that stuff. But I was one of the people that was saying I could see him starting week 1. After OTAs and all the reports I was hearing and the little bit of film that I saw from the practices, I was hearing that Dwayne Haskins, whenever he has a clean pocket and he's not like second guessing himself, he let it rip. Perfect play, perfect pass. Everything looks good. It's when he has to think about things, when there's confusion in the pocket. I heard one OTA throughout the day. I heard that they were doing a 7-on-7, 11-on-11 drills. And there was about 2 or 3 plays in a row where there was just people rushing around him. He just looked uncomfortable in the pocket. His footwork was kind of like jumbled up and scrambled. And he moved into a couple sacks instead of just standing in the pocket being bold and letting it rip. But also, like I said, I heard a couple plays back to back where he was sure about the coverage he was reading, pre-snap and during the play. He knew his reads and let it rip, and it was like he'd been doing it for years already. So I just think that they're going to go with Case Keenum for the first maybe 5 to 6 weeks because that first 5 weeks is hell on our schedule. Mm-hmm. But once they get past the Patriots and Bill Belichick, because you don't want to put a rookie against Belichick.
Yeah.
But I think
his record against rookie quarterbacks I think he's only lost like twice.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I think after week 5, week 6 we play, what is that? Either San Francisco or the Dolphins or something like that. So I think that'll be when you see the first Haskins sighting, and from 6 to 16, it'll be his show. Yeah,
and look, if Dwayne Haskins' biggest problem right now is navigation inside of a collapsing pocket, that's great news.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If he can get through reads, if he can get the ball out of his hand, if he can read what the defense is giving him, he's already miles ahead of where average rookies are.
And no rookie other than like maybe Andrew Luck or a Peyton Manning type quarterback is going to be coming in and being like, I know all these defenses. I'm reading every single defense. Like, it's going to take a little bit of time.
Right. And when you look at a guy like Russell Wilson, where it came to him naturally where to navigate in the pocket, because he's so short, he has to be able to get away from the lineman and be able to see downfield. It's a little different for Dwayne. Dwayne has to be able to see where the pocket is moving, but at the same time being able to see downfield. Yeah. It's extremely hard to do, but that's why the pros are at a different level.
That is one thing that I do that even watching him at Ohio State, I just loved about Dwayne Haskins. When he in the pocket or he's scrambling or wherever, eyes are always downfield. It's never looking around to try to see where the rushers are at. It's never holding the ball down below his waist. It's always high up his shoulder and looking downfield. Make a play.
And look, I would much rather that happen in OTAs and training camp where he's running for his life every day in practice, because when Trent does come in, when Brandon does come back 100% healthy, when Chase Royer is in there, and whoever the hell we put in at left guard, it being Eric Flowers or Wes Martin or Ross Piersbacher, when they come in as a solid unit, nobody's going to touch Dwayne. Yep. And it's going to seem like he is in paradise. He's on vacation in the Bahamas, sitting on a chair drinking a fucking umbrella smoothie.
It'll be right back in like he's in Ohio State. Just sit in the pocket, navigate, let it rip.
Let him go through the hard stuff first. Let him get under duress, because I'll tell you right now, those first 4 weeks, 5 weeks, they're going to get after it.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to come after Dwayne. The biggest thing is be able to navigate inside the pocket, find your checkdowns, and keep your eyes downfield. Two of those come easy to Dwayne. Yep. 2 of those come easy. It's navigating inside the pocket. And I think if you give Kevin O'Connell and Jay Gruden a month and a half with this kid, I think they can immensely improve that facet of his game.
I'm hoping once training camp comes up in the next month and a half or so, into July, I'm hoping at the first 2, maybe 3 days straight, I'm hoping Minuski just sends the dogs after him in practice. Let him get assimilated to a collapsing pocket. Let him get assimilated to people rushing at him. Let him get assimilated to having to throw the ball with authority, but people come down and cheat. Look, I can't even talk today. Sorry. Have him get assimilated with people, a rusher coming at him face to face, and him still standing in the pocket tall and letting it rip. So, I see great things on the horizon for Dwayne Haskins. I just wanted to take a little bit of time. Let the kid develop. Don't have a Derek Carr situation where he diminishes his confidence and he's getting sacks on top of sacks and throwing interceptions. Let him chill out. Let him slowly bring him along. And like I said, by week 6 or 7, put him out there, let him go.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a lot sooner than that. I think that the fan base and Snyder are going to have a lot to say about that, because, look, let's make no mistake about it. This is Snyder's boy. This is his pride and joy. This is his new RG3. He can't wait to go bowling with him. He's already set up the reservation. That's why else do you think Dwayne Haskins was at a bowling alley when he had his draft night? Because he's already saying, Dan, I'm ready to go, bud. Right. I remember seeing that video with you and RG3 at the bowling alley. I remember you guys being all cozy. I want to be that too.
See, I hope that never happens, because the next thing we need is a whole nother teacher's owner's pet, and everyone in the locker room being like, oh, this guy's the owner's pet. Like, fuck this dude.
I think the difference is Dan Snyder learning, dude, you probably shouldn't be coercing your quarterback against your head coach. I feel like that's not a smart thing to do.
You would think that, but all the reports were Jay didn't really want to draft Dwayne, so it's like they forced Dwayne on him. So it's pretty much the same thing all over again.
Yep.
They forced RG3 on Mike Shanahan. It turned out good for their first year, but I mean, you saw what happened in the next 3 years.
Yeah. Well, you're 100% right. We have no idea what the hell's going to go.
But I mean, also, if you listen to my man Lou Riddick, he said that Dan Snyder's turned a new leaf. He's saying that Dan Snyder's kind of just taking a back seat, and he's gonna let his coaching staff and everyone do their thing. We gotta wait to see it to believe it, but
I don't believe that for a goddamn second.
Hey man,
dude, I'll say right now,
don't hate on my man Lewis
Riddick. He is a very good guy. I am confident in saying that he knows what the hell he's talking about. I'm just saying Louis Riddick is a smart man, and he knows how to get a job. Yeah. And sucking Dan off is the best way to be able to become inside that front office for the Redskins. It's funny
because someone just said the other day on Junkies, or maybe it was today, maybe it was yesterday, but someone called in the Junkies and said they need to fire Bruce Allen to hire Lou Riddick as the GM.
Yeah.
Which I wouldn't be opposed to. I love Lou Riddick. But.
Right. I like Louis Riddick a lot. He was with the franchise before. It just kind of seems like he's trying to cozy up because he has tried to become a GM.
He's one of those
recently.
people that's always like getting like GM interviews or like scouting interviews. You're probably right. He's trying to get back in the league somehow.
Yeah, and I think he's a madman for trying to get into the Redskins. I mean, you have to be a psycho to want to go into that dumpster fire.
He already knows. Knows everyone there. He knows the organization, and he knows some of the people in the front office.
So I just hope Louis Riddick isn't a drinker. Because he comes in drinking, you're going to be gone in a year. I can tell you that right now.
He drinks every day after practice. Get him out of here.
He drinks with Bruce. Get him out. Let's stop calling him Bruce, by the way. Can we start calling him Booze Allen? Booze Allen. Booze up, bro. All right, but let's talk about some really some interesting developments. The Nationals have finally started playing well. They're 6 games under 500. They're 28-34. They have finally started to accumulate some runs. The bullpen has held their own, but the Nationals have been able to get the bats going, which has given their bullpen the cushion to give up a couple runs, but it doesn't end the game for them. The Nationals, don't look now. They're heating up. And I know there's only a 12% chance of them making the playoffs based in this recent era of professional baseball, of the record that they had. I still think they can get it done. I think this is the anomaly. I think this Nationals team is the exception. And I think if they continue to get healthy, they continue to ball out, and they start making small little adjustments to their bullpen, I think this team could really start making a name for himself by the All-Star break.
I feel like I said it maybe 1 or 2 podcasts ago where we were talking about the Nats, and I was just like, everyone kept saying, oh, they're 10 back, it's done for, there's no way they're going to come back, blah, 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 blah. My whole thing was, it's only like a quarter way through the season. All it takes is like a stretch they're on now where they're 9 out of 11, 10 out of 12 or whatever it is. And all it takes is the Phillies to go on a 5 or 6 game losing streak, which they have done. And next thing you know, we're right back in the mix. 6 games back, 6.5 behind, 500, whatever it is. I mean, if they keep on this roll, I think they're averaging about 6 or 7 runs a game at this point in the last 12 games. They've won, the past 3 or 4 series in a row. Yep. So things are starting to heat up, and if they continue on this path, I think that by the end of July, early August, they could
All-Star break.
Yeah, All-Star break. They could be maybe at the most 2 games back, if not even.
Yeah, they're gonna have to sweep some guys. Yeah. They're gonna have to sweep some teams here. Obviously, they got swept. They have to be able to fight that back.
They're gonna need the Phillies to hit another little down patch slump again.
They do. They need somebody to stumble, but the Braves just made a big move to get a solid closer. So the Braves are trying to make moves. The Braves are trying to do what the Phillies did last year, which was come out of fucking nowhere and do well. But that being said, how long was Anthony Rendon out, do you think? What, a month?
Man, it was like a month and a half.
About a month. It's taken him a couple weeks to now become the Nationals leader, not only in home runs, in RBIs, on-base percentage, and batting average. Already. This guy, he just got back from being injured, and he's already leading those categories.
I mean, at this point, you got to lock Rendon up for the future. Mm-hmm. If you let Bryce Harper go, which everyone knew was going to happen anyway, because we had the younger talent coming in, but if you let the next guy up, which is Rendon, go also, it's not going to be looking good for the Nationals going forward.
No, and hopefully it's not. It's looking better than Trevin Rosenthal's career as a National as well. He has continued to struggle. Hopefully, he can build on something and get into where the Nationals were. The reason they brought him in was to be the Tyler Clippard, was to be the bridge guy to get to Sean Doolittle. But not only that, he was worse than any other reliever that they had. They need Trevor Rosenthal to get right. They need it so badly, and they know it.
Call my man Tyler Clippard back up, man. That was my boy back.
See, I got into it Gene the other day because I was like, their bullpen hasn't been the same since Tyler Clippard left. He's like, oh, Tyler Clippard sucks. I was like, what? Tyler Clippard was great. Relievers. Yeah, he was a great bridge reliever. He always got us. The 8th inning was always taken care of when Tyler Clippard was here. He always took care of the 8th. You didn't have to worry about that. It was the 9th was the problem. They needed Sean Doolittle.
Exactly. Now we have Doolittle, but no Clippard.
Right. And that's the problem that the Nationals have right now, and that's what Trevor Rosenthal was brought in to be. Hopefully, a miracle happens. Hopefully, he turns into the Max Scherzer of relievers.
His ERA like infinity. At one point?
It was ridiculous. I think the Nationals bullpen's ERA was infinity at one point. Not to be honest, but Trey Turner's getting back up to speed. He just had a walk-off home run in the top of the ninth inning, bottom of the ninth, a couple days ago against the White Sox, which they're not that good of a team, but it just shows that wrist is okay now.
Hey, you're supposed to beat the teams that you're better than.
Hey, it's a very good point. You're supposed to.
Wish the Redskins would do that. Jeez.
So the Nationals are on an upward trend. But so I'm glad that we were able to finally talk about the Nationals because it was such a depressing topic. You didn't want to talk about it on here. I didn't want that kind of negative energy flowing around the podcast.
We're hitting the off season where like there's nothing going on football wise. What the hell are we gonna talk about on here?
Right. So now let's move on. Tonight is Game 4 of the finals. KD has been announced out again. I don't think that's a surprise to anyone.
That was surprising to me. I've said from the get-go, I thought it was going to be Game 4 he would come back. But they put him in 3-on-3 drills. He was practicing but didn't look all the way ready to go. So probably Game 5 he'll be back. But yeah, it was surprising to me he's out for Game 4.
It doesn't... It reeks as though it is the Achilles.
Also, isn't like a calf strain supposed to be a 4 to 6 week like injury? This is going on like week 7 or 8 at this point.
Yeah.
Like,
so everyone has already been talking about it.
I don't think it's an Achilles because, like I said before, you can't really lie about injuries. They're gonna get fined and they're gonna get in so much trouble over that shit.
I think if
I just think it's a strain, but it's like the grade is like way worse than the.
Oh yeah, I think it's a very severe strain. Yeah. I think you're right. I think it's very close to tearing.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the only way that the Warriors would get in trouble with lying about his injury is if they tried to play him. And then it came out that he had a torn Achilles. Then you're in trouble because you're forcing a player to play when they shouldn't be.
Well, now also you can't really lie like on the injury.
But what would be the purpose?
It's like for football.
But yeah, but what would be the purpose for the Warriors? Like, what kind of advantage would they get for withholding the fact that he has a torn Achilles?
Because it just keeps the Raptors on their toes. Like, oh, he's going to come back this game.
Well,
There's like,
it's the same time.
It's not really like football where you got to like prepare.
Right.
But like, I don't know.
I don't think it has anything to do with it. So I don't think he has a torn Achilles. I think you're right. I think it is a severe strain, and he was not rehabbing as fast as they would like him to.
Also, he keeps flying on the plane with them, like charter plane to like Toronto, back and forth, which is also messing up his rehab. When he should be staying back in Oakland rehabbing. He probably would be back for Game 4 by now. But I mean, they're down 2-1. Honestly, the way that Steph played, if Klay would have played Game 3 the other night, Golden State would have won that shit. They only lost that. They could not get the lead past 7 points. I watched the whole game. They got it to 10, 13, 14. They would cut it to 7. All of a sudden, Kyle Lowry come down the court, Kawhi come down the court, 3-pointer. Right back to 13, 12, 14. And then Steph would come down, 3. Cut it to 7. They could not get over the hump. But with that being said, I feel like the Golden State Warriors are as confident as ever. Draymond had a horrible game in the first half the other day. The bench players, horrible coming off the bench. Iguodala was horrible as a starter. So I think with Klay coming back in Game 4, even though he'll be maybe 75-80%, that's still better than no Klay at all. And all you got to do is catch and shoot anyway and play defense. And just stay in front of your fucking person.
Yeah, it's not like they're asking him to dribble up the court.
Exactly. So I think they're going to win Game 4. It'll be a close one. I think they'll win it by like 3-4 points and go back to Toronto tied up.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right about that. I thought that was a kind of a lax night from the Warriors. Nobody showed up, especially the veterans.
It's like they came out knowing that, like, we have no chance.
Yeah.
But, like, maybe Steph will, like, keep us in the game, which he did.
He had 47 points. I mean, what else do you want him to do? You want him to score all your points? I mean, Jesus. But, yeah, he needed – and it sucked because without Klay Thompson, without Kevin Durant, the defense – focuses on two guys, and that being Draymond and Steph Curry. Yep. The thing is, Steph Curry can make a shot from outside the arena, so it doesn't matter how many guys you put on him. Yeah. Draymond Green has to be able to get into the post. He has to be able to knock down his shots, but when the team knows that that's all you got, Draymond Green is going to struggle getting his own shot off the dribble.
I think if Boogie would have mirrored his Game 2 performance in Game 3.
I think that is where the problem was Boogie's game. Boogie was almost just... He was invisible. Yeah. He was almost just a body at that point. He wasn't doing anything.
Exactly.
He had a bad game. His first game was Game 2. Yeah. He had a better game there. He was actually rebounding, scoring some points. His passes were amazing.
That was all adrenaline in Game 2. He's like, oh, it's my first game back. Like, oh. Now he's like, Game 3. He got a rehab, sore body, quick turnaround. Like, you kind of expect that to happen, but You just figured it's Boogie Cousins, an all-star, perennial all-star. You think he'll like kind of get it together, but clearly he's not all the way healthy yet. And hopefully going forward, he'll be at least 75-80% of the Boogie that we're known to see. And I just want to see a good series at this point. I mean, I kind of want to see Golden State win it just because like I like seeing dynasties and like shit like that. But if Toronto won it, I wouldn't be mad. I mean, I don't really have a horse in this looking race.
No, I would not like to see Drake be happy because then all we'd have is an album about the Toronto Raptors, and I'm not really worried about that. But in all seriousness, I think the argument can be made before we get into the whole owner shoving Kyle Lowry stupid fiasco. I do want to ask the question, do you think this is the Warriors, if they win this finals, is this the toughest matchup that they've had?
Oh,
in the finals.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, I think this is the time where everyone says, it's easy for the Warriors. They have 5 All-Stars. They sweep everyone, blah, 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 whatever have you. This is gut check time.
Yep.
This is where, if you're the best in the league like you say you are, you win. You win these types of games. And I would honestly be willing to bet this is the toughest matchup that they've had to face in the NBA Finals.
By far. I mean, they've played LeBron the past, 4 or 5 finals in a row, and he's been the best player on the court easily. But they've never played a two-way player like Kawhi that has a bunch of role players like Kyle Lowry's an all-star, Siakam's a budding all-star, Marc Gasol's a perennial veteran in this league.
Serge
Ibaka's been an all-star. So he's been playing with
Van Fleet off of the bench, getting over 10 points. Woo.
So, I mean, this is definitely by far the toughest matchup they've had in the finals. And me personally, I love it because I like seeing good basketball.
Yeah. And look, the NBA is definitely benefiting from this because the worst thing possible for the NBA at this point would be for Kevin Durant to be out the series and the Warriors just sweeping the Raptors. I mean, that would just be the downfall of the NBA. They would have terrible ratings.
Oh,
it's a good thing that Toronto's getting up early.
They would force LeBron to go back to the East next year.
Right. All right, so next thing, let's talk about the whole shoving incident that happened last game where Kyle Lowry goes for a ball out of bounds, dives to go get it, and as he's getting back up, he was a minority owner of the Warriors, and he shoves Kyle Lowry, which is, I have to put in quotations.
I wouldn't even call it a shove. It was more like a...
So Kyle Lowry makes this a spectacle for 5 minutes, is freaking out about this dude touching him. Then what are you doing here, man? What are you doing here?
LeBron weighed on Twitter.
LeBron comes out and talks about it.
You're not in the playoffs. Now you got to try to stay relevant, but come on, bro, really?
What do you think about it? I think it's absolutely ridiculous.
What's ridiculous to me is that they freaking suspended this dude for a year from going to games.
What happened to warnings? What happened to saying to this guy, hey, you're a minority owner. You shouldn't be touching the players. Even if you touch him one more time. If I see you touch the goddamn basketball, you are not going to be allowed in the arena for the rest of the finals.
Even if I'm saying,
what happened to that?
Even if it's they suspend him, cool. Do whatever you got to do. Suspend him for the next home game. Why are you suspending him for a whole year? This is crazy to me.
Well, the best thing I heard was LeBron saying...
and they fined him $500,000.
LeBron saying, fans need to respect the players more. LeBron, have you ever had a job in the restaurant industry? Have you ever worked retail? Have you ever worked anywhere?
Of course
the
not.
Customer does not give a shit about you. Yep. I've seen guys and girls at the host stand get pagers that you sit and waiting and they give you a pager, they ring it up for you when your table's ready. I've seen people get thrown at with them. I've seen customers try to fight servers. Stop sitting here and acting like NBA players get treated like shit over anybody else. Everyone gets treated like shit by customers. Stop acting like you're something special. Yeah. That's my whole point. I can't stand it.
Like I said, if you're going to suspend the dude, whatever it is, what it is, he shouldn't have fucking put his hands on him. He's probably a little tipsy. Been at the game all night. Suspend him for a game. Let him come back. What's also crazy to me, he's a minority owner. This is going to be the last games in Oracle, the oldest arena in NBA history, to this day, standing. You're going to let him miss the very last game and the arena and the team that he has stakes in? Come on, NBA. Come on, Adam Silver. You're better than that, bro.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely ridiculous.
And you fined him $500,000, for a smack, a little pat on the back, on the shoulder, $500,000, not 5, not even 50, 500. It's not a lot to ask. That's chump change to a guy like that. But like,
Right.
really, that's like me being like, I hate Burgundy Zone. Oh, I'm gonna sue you for $100,000. Good luck getting that. But all right.
Right. At what point? Because look, at 10 years ago, it's probably been more than 10 years ago. Ron Artest was jumping into the stands and was throwing haymakers at a guy drinking a Pepsi.
Yeah.
People were throwing beers down at the players. We don't deal with that anymore nowadays. There is not a situation like that nowadays. The most that happens is we have an idiot who's a racist yelling at Russell Westbrook, or a NBA player flicking off fans. That's the worst the case that happens nowadays. And for LeBron to sit here and say fans need to respect the players, what else do you want them to do? Do you want me to fucking pull out the red carpet for you to walk onto the fucking court? Stop. I just hate the pussification of the NBA. I miss the NBA where dudes would drive the fucking lane, take elbows to the face, get clothesline, throw to the goddamn court.
And it wouldn't even foul.
Nowadays, you can't even fucking grab his ass cheek without getting a fucking 3-point play. It is ridiculous, and it's just the league has continued to let LeBron do whatever the hell he wants.
This is why LeBron's not the GOAT.
They continue to let him do whatever the hell he wants, and he lets us say whatever the hell he wants, and it's completely ridiculous that the NBA would throw a minority owner under the bus, not have his back whatsoever. And I think it's completely reasonable to sit here and say, give the guy a warning.
Yeah.
Tell him don't ever touch a fucking player
Or at
again.
least just, look, $5,000 fine, give it to a charity, go on about your day.
Right. Donate to a charity that Kyle Lowry is saying to.
First of all, this whole thing came about because Kyle Lowry said he needs to sell his stake in his team and be banned from the NBA for the rest of his life.
What?
What?
What are you talking about?
Like, come on.
I think
man.
you should be banned from speaking publicly.
You should be banned from the NBA for even bringing that up.
You're
soft. You're being soft right now, bro.
It's so ridiculous how soft the NBA has
they're
become.
so coddled nowadays, man.
They really are. They're allowed to do whatever the hell they want.
I guarantee you, like Michael Jordan, Charles Oakley, Alonzo Mourning, Tim Hardaway Sr. all laughing like, oh, look at these little coddled soft-ass pussies, man. I tell you what, man.
Back in my day, we would be in there when we be punching people in the face.
We need more Ron Artest in this league, man.
You need some attitude because you got a bunch of vaginas walking around. I'm sorry, no disrespect to vaginas. Vaginas are great.
I love vaginas.
They're very tough. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just saying the league needs it. Like they need to stop letting small things like this become mainstream news.
Exactly.
Because it's funny how you can barely touch a goddamn guy and he gets suspended from the team he owns. But you have guys taking 7 to 8 steps on a goddamn drive, doesn't get called by the refs, and nobody cares.
Yep.
The competition of the game is losing itself. It's losing itself completely. It's ripping at the seams, and you have to be able to control this thing. And you have to be able to say, our owners, they have to be held to a higher standard. You're absolutely right. That's why he's getting a warning. And if he ever does it ever again, he knows he's writing down this contract. If he touches another NBA player, he's gone. He's not allowed at the arena again. The fact that we are sitting down here saying, nope, gone, boom. Like it's the NFL policy against domestic abuse.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Like he's been popped for the 3rd time with weed.
Right. This guy just literally shoved him in the shoulder, and now we're acting like he's fucking Hitler. He's like, get him out of here. We got to burn him. Get him. Get the stakes. Get the stakes. It's ridiculous, the kind of mob mentality that the public and society has become, especially when against somebody when it's an NBA player.
I mean, honestly, I'm surprised he wasn't like, oh, it was a racist matter because, you know, he put his hands on me as a black man. I felt endangered. And, like, come on, man.
First off, that's a lie. It's a white guy.
Well, I'm saying Kyle Lowry.
No, I'm saying he felt endangered from the guy touching. Come on, son. That dude's like 70 years old. He's not going to do shit to you. You're a grown-ass man. Start acting like it. But in all seriousness, it's just funny. You know, I miss the days, miss seeing those videos of back in like the 70s of football where dudes are smoking cigarettes on the sidelines, drinking beers, and NBA players are like Ron Artest saying, I was drinking Hennessy before games.
Shit, go to the 90s. My man Vlade Divac in the locker room smoking cigarettes during halftime.
Right.
Chilling.
And it just seems like the NBA has gone away from itself. And it sucks that they allow small things like this to erupt. There is no big brother in the room to say, smack him upside the head. One of the coaches say, hey, dude, grow the hell up. Right. It's okay. Exactly. Are you hurt? No, you're not. You're hurt. You're not hurt.
And
okay.
you chose to dive into this
right.
stance.
You're not hurt.
I mean, look,
you're good.
I
Get the hell out
love
there.
the effort and everything, but like, come on, man. Like,
Where are the adults? Like, we're just gonna allow them to run around acting like kids, just running around saying, "He hurt me. He hurt me. He touched me." I don't care. Go play basketball. I don't give a shit. If he didn't hurt you, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
I understand about him, like people yelling racist taunts and stuff like that, but that's different. This dude just rubbed you on the shoulder. Be a grown man. What are you gonna tell your kids? Sticks and stones, right? Come on, dude. Get over it. Oh my God, what a joke of a league the NBA has become.
Nah.
All right, so let's transition to something new. Fantasy football.
I gotta like dip.
Okay, that's fine. All right, we're gonna cut this
My
close.
bad.
It's all good. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Again, please like and share our Facebook page. You can find us at the Burgundy Zone. You can find us on Twitter at Burgundy Zone.
We're on YouTube now, right?
We are on YouTube. You are correct, sir. And also, we are on iTunes. Look and subscribe to our podcast and like our page on YouTube as well. I'm Kyle. Thank you very much, everybody. I'm joined by Mike.
Black Mike, that is. Shout out to my man Mike Reed, White Mike.
And Mike Reed and and Mike Hall will be recording again this weekend, hopefully on Sunday. So we'll have that uploaded for you guys. Thank you very much. Enjoy your weekend and be safe, everybody. Woo! Redskins football. Woo!